Okay. It's so hard to be natural, actually.
So what happened was...
Savannah. So today was a big day, big morning. It sounds like it's been a big series of weeks, months. What did we do this morning? Where were we?
So this morning we were at 707 Terry. It's a pretty big project in Seattle that has 2 towers. There is a company on there named Revis Painting that is actually employing glazers to install some handrail.
So painters supposedly, excuse me, glazers doing supposed painter work?
Yeah, so
Okay.
the company's name is Revis Painting, but all of the workers that we have been able to find work as glazers, and they're installing handrail or around the balconies. We've discovered that the workers didn't understand their rights, and so we've started to talk to them and quickly learned that they were not getting paid their overtime. And this is pretty much a classic thing that you see people taking advantage of workers with the Fair Labor Standard Act.
So, I'm sorry, you said they're not getting paid overtime. How do you know?
So we talked to a couple of the workers. They came to us and we were able to find that their paychecks just straight up said, 99 hours at straight time. Like, there's no overtime premium in some of them. Some of the checks were handwritten. And so we encouraged them to try to file a complaint with the Department of Labor. As far as I know, I believe that a complaint has been filed and that they are investigating. The Fair Labor Standard Act says that anybody who works in excess of 40 hours in a work week is required to be paid time and a half in anything excess. So these workers get paid every 2 weeks, so that would be 80 hours.
So anything in excess of 80 hours?
Anything in excess of
Gotcha,
80
gotcha.
hours would end up being time and a half.
Okay.
And so we have seen stubs that say that the workers have worked 105 hours with no overtime. So that's kind of how we discovered this. The workers really just came to us looking for help. Go ahead.
I'm just really caught up on the whole. So they're getting paid. You said 99, 100 plus hours, according to their paycheck.
Yes.
And it just straight up says straight time. There's no
Yes.
hiding it. There
was no hiding it. None.
No shit. Okay.
So then we also found out that a worker had fallen and gotten hurt on the project. And when he got hurt, his supervisor, and this is his story to us, was that his supervisor suspended him for 2 days and then demoted him to a different part of the crew.
Because he got hurt.
Because he got hurt. And L&I came out and did an investigation, did find some stuff. It's on Revis Painting's L&I Contractor lookup site. So
Where can you find that?
On lni.com, it'll ask you, or lni.gov for the state of Washington. Don't quote me on what the website is, but you can go to the
Go look for L&I, basically.
state of Washington's Labor and Industry Contractor lookup.
Okay.
And you can look up Revis Painting. You could also see that they were here in Seattle performing work and soliciting for work without a business license. So as far as I know, all not legal. And so we know that they got cited for that. We also know that they've got the safety violation, and now we have this coming forward about the overtime. And so that's a pretty big deal. They're performing a scope that our union typically does.
Okay.
And they are only getting paid anywhere from $20 to $25 an hour when they have absolutely no training. I believe we had one of the workers come to us and tell us that their supervisor was picking up screws from the ground and asking them to reuse it. Like, there's no training, there's no safety. The workers are having to buy their own safety harnesses because the company's providing them really expired ones, or they don't look safe. So the guys were buying their own harnesses, and they don't make a whole lot of money, so it can continue to be expensive for them.
Sure. I mean, what about the rest of their PPE, their protective equipment?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm pretty sure they pay for that themselves.
Sure. Okay.
But when you see them, they look like they're legit workers.
Right.
Like, they're dressed to the nine, dressed very well.
Right.
They've got all the PPE, but it's that safety harness they're swinging off the side of the building, and they were telling us that they had bought $25 safety harnesses from Amazon because that's all they could afford. And so a lot of them are wearing that up on the lifts right now.
Where would you normally get a safety harness at?
Probably not from Amazon, and probably not not for $25.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I haven't even tried to check. Maybe Amazon has some great products for it, but with their wages being stolen, and not a whole lot of education from the owner on this or the company on this, so they were just trying to almost put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. Is kind of what these workers have been trying to have to do.
Jesus Christ. So, I mean, you know, I keep going back to this overtime thing because it kind of blows me away because this to me sounds like wage theft. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. That's exactly what it is.
Huh.
I've seen this over the last 6 years done multiple times in various different ways.
Yeah.
I just want you to know, Mike, on every single job site that you can see in the Seattle skyline or out on the outskirts, there's wage theft happening on these job sites.
Shit.
It's just a matter of how is that company doing it.
Right.
And sometimes it's hidden, sometimes it's sneaky, sometimes it involves paybacks where they do get their overtime, but once they cash their check, they have to give that money back to the foreman or to the owner. Or it's just blatant where they don't pay them time and a half for anything over 40. This is a pretty typical practice by some contractors. And so I always say it's not a matter of if wage theft is happening, it's a matter of how is it happening.
Right. So we now know wage theft is happening. We know it's happening a shit ton.
Yeah.
If they weren't coming to a union or us, another union to come help them, who do they go to?
So the best thing for them to do is to go to the Department of Labor and file a Fair Labor Standard complaint. Each agency has people that you can go talk to, your local Department of Labor. You can go in and say, hey, I believe that my wages are being stolen or that I'm not getting paid the correct overtime. You would have to provide pay stubs or at least statements, something, and they will either take a look at it and file a case, or they will tell you that you need more information. But this is something that the IUPAT does on a daily basis. So if there's any workers out there that do need help, they're more than free to come and ask our department and see if we can get them in touch with the right authorities.
Check that phone number to get a hold of us. Anyway, so back to who do I report this shit to if I don't have anybody? You said the Department of Labor, and you mentioned agencies, plural. What other agencies are out there that are protecting workers?
Well, right now we have the National Labor Relations Board, which governs the National Labor Relations Act.
Usually referred to as the NLRB, right?
The NLRB governs the NLRA.
Okay.
And last night it just came out that there was a big case going on with the NLRB where SpaceX...
I heard about this.
SpaceX was suing the NLRB, basically saying, hey, we don't think that the NLRB is even constitutionally accurate. So they've been in a litigation over this for quite some time, and just last night the NLRB came out and said that they weren't going to oppose that argument anymore. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I don't know if that means that they know they've got a slam dunk case that they are constitutionally protected, or if they are giving up. I don't really know. But the way that this year has gone and how fast this administration has ran, I wouldn't be surprised it's the latter and not the first.
So I'm not going to pretend like I don't know about the National Labor Relations Board for the sake of this video. I obviously do, and I've been reading the stuff. This morning you let us know what you updated us on what you just said there. I had already heard that the NLRB had basically been neutered by this incoming or the new administration. It's still up in question whether they illegally fired the general counsel for the NLRB, as well as they got rid of some of the board members, which means the NLRB can't actually do their job because they have to have a quorum. I think it's 4 or 5 members. I can't remember, but
so the general counsel, I think President Trump had the authority to fire, but it's the board member that he didn't have the authority to fire. Those are I don't really even know how they are appointed, but I know that it was the Wilcox firing that was illegal.
Which essentially makes this board they just can't do anything now because you have to have a certain number of people to actually even
have a quorum.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then just, a week later, they come out and announce, that they're not going to fight the SpaceX case anymore.
I also heard Amazon, I believe, was also one of the companies. SpaceX and Amazon, I guess, were attacking the NLRB, which is funny because Amazon has these organizing campaigns where their workers anyway. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, right now, I'm seeing something in our country that I haven't seen in my career, which is an all-out assault on workers' rights.
Yeah.
And if you are on an all-out assault on workers' rights, then you're out for workers.
Sure.
And for me, there are certain protections that are in place for certain reasons. The NLRB has been active for quite some time, since, 30s, and between the 30s and the start of the 50s. And so...
And we just don't have those protections now, it sounds like.
The NLRA is still a law. It's still in effect, but the NLRB governed that.
Right.
And so I don't know if you've ever read the NLRA, but it's like 42 pages long. There's a bunch of different sections. So what I'm assuming is going to happen is that this will just now be a court, I don't know if it's civil court.
Sure.
I don't know if they're going to create a whole separate kind of court for these to be heard, but
when you say these to be heard, meaning like cases like Revis.
Cases like Revis.
Yeah.
So we know that there's some unfair labor practices that are happening, right? I just told you about the worker who reported an accident and then he was retaliated against. Unfair labor practice. That is all governed within the NLRA. So when you have an unfair labor practice, you want to go to the NLRB, your region office, and you want to file that complaint to hold that contractor accountable. If there's no more NLRB, I don't know exactly where a worker goes. Does a worker now have to hire an attorney?
Right.
Because workers don't...
With all the shit ton of money that we make, we can pay for these attorneys.
Right.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going to happen there.
That's bonkers.
Yeah. So, like I said this morning, we're going to be out there and we're going to keep pushing.
Tell me about this morning. So this morning, what happened?
So this morning we decided to go public with the Revis campaign.
Okay.
We set up outside of one of their projects with a sign that says Revis painting, shame on Revis painting, unfair, unsafe, and on site. And we had to do it like a little bit across the street, and we blew up the big pig. And we were just wanting to let the public know with our First Amendment right that there's a contractor out here that's hurting workers.
I did, obviously I was out there with you this morning, and I noticed that there were what looked to be, forgive me, superintendents or something that came out and talked. Can I ask about that conversation?
Yeah, we had a couple of superintendents come out and talk from actually a union contractor came over and talked to us.
Okay.
And just wanted to make sure that they were doing everything in compliance, and I explained to them that they were. We were not there to do anything else except for inform the public.
Right.
And so we just had a little bit of a conversation. They said that they're not in control of that project, that a company named West Bank is the general on that.
Okay.
We've had some issues with West Bank in the past.
Yeah.
It sounded like this contractor might be having some issues, but didn't go into very much detail. And so, it seems like everything ties back to this West Bank.
What is West Bank? You said contractor.
So when I hear West Bank, I immediately think that's got to be the financing,
right?
Which it kind of is. But West Bank is acting as the GC on this project.
Okay.
So they have some West Bank general contracting. Don't quote me on it.
We don't know everything about them yet.
I'm
We just
guesstimating,
know that they're.
But everything keeps leading back to them.
Okay.
So we know that we've had union signatories, not just from our union, but unions across Seattle have issues with West Bank not paying them on time, withholding funds from them, and so it doesn't surprise me that West Bank went to a painting company and asked them to start doing the glazing, right? Like, it's not that far of a stretch if we know that there's been some money issues in the past.
Sure.
But to completely disregard these workers' humanity, their safety, is it's just something that it's
fucking gross.
It just really, for a lack of a better term, it really pisses me off.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the workers are out there every single day working their ass off and just getting treated like they are nothing.
And then blatantly on their paychecks saying 99 hours,
Yeah.
we're robbing you,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. So this is a way that non-union contractors beat union contractors, right? So contracting is so competitive. And if you're a contractor that is playing by the rules, paying your overtime, and paying your guys an area standard, your guys and gals an area standard, then trying to bid against like a Rivas Painting on a glazing contract is going to be damn near impossible.
Right.
The delta is too far between what a union trained and skilled glazer is doing besides a painting company just hiring random people to do glazing.
I still can't get over that. Painting. Rivas Painting will put your giant glass windows on your high rises.
Yeah. And we haven't, I don't have the documentation to confirm, but we also feel like, and what we have heard is that the painters for Rivas Painting are actually subcontractors, which means they are most likely being 1099 and misclassified as independent contractors, which is all a part of the underground economy. And so we've got misclassification possibly on the job site. We know we have wage theft on the job site. And so we also know that we have safety issues on the job site. So we are just going to keep letting the public know, like, hey, this has taken away a lot of good jobs for a lot of our community right here in the heart of Seattle.
And hope that all of our elected officials from city, state, county, and federal might hear this and then get on board and actually do something to protect
That's right.
these people working their ass off every day.
That's right.
Getting hurt and then not getting paid because they got hurt. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, suspended for getting hurt. Not like put on light duty, but suspended for getting hurt is what we've been informed. So, you know, unions are under attack. I said this earlier. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this is all going to happen for the better. I don't know if it's going to happen for the worse. I don't know if it's going to happen for indifference. I don't know. But all I know is that our department gives a damn about workers. And we're going to keep going out there and we're going to keep trying to support them and elevate them. If they change everything that we've ever known about worker rights, then we are going to have to adapt, improvise, and overcome. That's all we can do. And my team knows the gravity of this, and we're going to keep trying to push any kind of boundary that we can to make sure that these workers are protected. And even if they tell us, you know, hey, all of this stuff is gone, we're still going to be out there trying to protect them.
Hell yeah.
And we're going to keep fighting because in order for us to protect our members, we have to protect workers.
Right.
If we do not protect workers, we cannot protect union members. And the reason why is because there is a contractor that wants to get ahead, so they are going to undermine the union and the way that union contractors try to legitimize their bids. If we don't elevate the workers at Rivas Painting, what's to say that they don't start paying them $15 an hour?
Right.
What's to say that they're not going to pay them the minimum wage that is set in Seattle?
Right.
Because nobody's paying attention, nobody's going out there and verifying that these workers are indeed safe because it's a private job, right? So we are trying to just elevate them because if they're down here, if they're at the bottom of the ground, all right, and we elevate them, if you elevate the floor, you elevate the ceiling. And so our goal is to elevate these workers, not because we need them to be paid union wages, but because that this practice just undermines legitimate contractors, union legitimate contractors and non-union legitimate contractors. All of that is compromised when workers are being taken advantage of, regardless if it's a union or a non-union shop.
Because when you say workers are being taken advantage of, it sounds like to me you have somebody who's paying the less than the least paying guy out there who could be a legitimate business owner as well.
Yeah, that's right. And so we're going to keep fighting for these workers.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep fighting for them. We do this because, you know, we've got a lot of members that could be on that project. These workers could be union members, right? So it's not necessarily a union versus non-union thing. It's a standard.
Well, and that's
right?
That's a good point. I think that we haven't really touched on here. These workers that have come to your team, to our union for help, are not even union members, which makes it that much easier for them to be screwed like this.
Yes. So I always tell workers, contractors, whoever, when you have a employee that has something going wrong or that has a grievance with you and your company, they have, if without a union, they don't even have a representative that they can call. Do you have an HR department? I don't know a whole lot of construction companies that have HR departments.
And we all know what HR does.
I'm not saying that they don't,
Right.
but the other thing is if they don't have a union rep to go and report this to, the union rep takes that to the contractor and we try to mediate that. The only place that workers have to go is the feds.
Which we've now discovered or talked about is in the trash can right now.
Correct. So to me, this is all an all-out assault on workers.
I would agree. Absolutely.
So we're just trying to elevate that and fight for them as long as we can. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
I'm cautiously, I guess I have to be cautiously optimistic, because if I'm not optimistic and I'm pessimistic at this, I'm gonna, like, it's so easy to give up.
Absolutely.
And this is not the time to give up.
Right.
This is actually like long overdue that we have to keep fighting for this, regardless whoever is in office.
Absolutely.
Workers
Yeah,
are
I mean,
still
we have
workers.
these fucking fights, whether it's a Democrat or Republican or whoever, working people have always been shit on. There's no way of getting around it. Yeah.
And so it's just, I haven't seen an assault on this level before.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm misinterpreting what I'm seeing, but
well, it's scary. It sounds really
it's
scary.
very scary. So I don't know. President Trump, if I'm absolutely wrong, give me a call and tell me.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it seems like some of the promises that he made to union workers is going right out the fucking window.
Well, and I want to make the connection too to SpaceX and Elon, right? Like that. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to rail on either party, either candidate, but the things that are happening right now are fucked and they are hurting working people, no matter who's the one pushing the buttons right now.
It doesn't matter. And so the fact that these workers are being taken advantage of takes advantage of every worker in that situation. And that's what I don't know if people realize.
Right.
And one of the things that drives me absolutely nuts is when people talk about how, well, those guys shouldn't accept it for that wage, or those people should ask for a raise, or they should do something.
Right.
Do you know how hard it is to start a union?
Yeah, go ask your boss for a 1 penny raise.
With the NLRB?
Right.
With the NLRB.
Yep.
So it's really hard. It's like an act of God to get somebody to go union when it's coming from the workers' voices. And so it's when those workers are being taken advantage of, it hurts every single union member in town. It hurts every single worker.
Absolutely.
It hurts everybody from residential construction to commercial construction. It hurts everybody from working at, mom and pop coffee shop to Starbucks. All of that, all of that is at threat right now.
Right.
And we just happened to be the painters union and found out about Rebus painting and discovered they were doing glazing.
That they're Rebus, all of the above, it sounds like.
So, and the company's also from Canada. I don't even know if I mentioned this.
Interesting.
So I was hoping maybe it was just a misunderstanding, but in looking into Canadian law, sounds like they should definitely be looked at in Canada as well, and I'm not entirely sure if they are.
Interesting. Well, in the meantime, when all the horrible things we just mentioned are going on, it's super exciting to hear that workers are actually standing up for their rights.
Yes.
If there's anybody else out there, let's end this way. If there's anybody else out there that needs help, like the Rebus painters or any worker, period, who do they contact?
Ghostbusters. No. They can contact District Council 5. You know, we
That's us.
That's us. District Council 5 of the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades. Mike's going to put the phone number
will be somewhere in this general area.
Yeah. And if you are a painter, drywall finisher, floor cover, or glazer that's being taken advantage of, definitely call. If you are not one of those crafts, please give us a call and we will try to get you in contact with someone that would represent you to the fullest, to a better extent than we can. But please, we'd be happy to get you in touch with the right people.
And let's also give a shout out to our trade show workers, our display workers, our sign and painters.
Paper hangers.
Paper hangers.
Paper hangers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're seeing, and I almost feel like what's happening right now is that this administration is burning, like we're getting baptized with fire right now.
Right.
And the good thing about ashes is that people have risen from it
That's
before.
true. That's
and
true.
so, for a lack of a better term or something super cheesy,
Yeah.
this is the time for us to rise up.
Absolutely.
This is the time for us to be that lighted phoenix
Yep.
for all of workers,
Yep.
because right now more than ever, it's important to just freaking organize
Absolutely.
and see workers and hear them for who they are,
Yeah.
meet them where they're at, find out what their issues are,
Yeah.
and elevate it to the highest level that we can.
Well, I got to say I'm proud of you, and
Thanks.
I'm super stoked that you guys are out there doing that thing.
Hey.
Somebody needs to be, and I'm super proud to, or I should say I'm excited and proud of the workers that have come forward themselves. They're the ones really to be proud of here.
And really, it's not necessarily me; it's my team,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely,
And I've got one of my lead organizers
Yeah.
who is just right there with the workers, in
yeah.
it with them.
Yeah.
They trust him completely,
Yep.
and so I couldn't be more proud of our team
Yep.
with District Council 5's organizing department.
Absolutely.
Just their thirst and hunger for knowledge
Yeah.
on how to elevate workers' lives has really turned them into some of the best organizers I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm just really proud of the team that we have, because they know the importance of elevating the industry for all workers.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sam, I'm like I said, I guess the best way to end this is just to say, if you're a worker out there and you're looking for help, give us a shout.
Yep.
And we'll do what we can for
Yep.
you.
And
when we fight, we win.
Yeah.
All right.
if we don't fight, we lose.
Absolutely.
So even if we fight and we lose, it's better than to have, I'd rather have the gloves on and take them off than to have never put the gloves on.
Absolutely.
So.
How many more cliches do you think we can throw back and forth?
Let me see. You cannot lead a worker to water.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can,
Yeah.
but you cannot force them to drink it.
Okay.
So we have it blessed by the church across the street from the project, and then we throw it on them.
Oh, okay.
And if they don't melt, we help them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, I appreciate you. And
No problem.
again, first time doing this, so I don't really know how to end it.
don't
So I'm
know.
just going to make it awkward, and then I guess I'll just fade to black somehow, and it'll go away. So
Yeah, well,
All right, there you go.
and oh, our meeting started.
Oh, did it?
Yep.
Shit.